So I recently got asked by a close friend of mine, hey Aaron, I just got a Canon 90D and I want to start a YouTube channel and make vlog style videos, and like, what lens do you recommend I buy? So there are definitely some really awesome lenses out there for crop sensor Canons, but one lens I would totally recommend if you're interested in doing vlogging and video style work is the Canon 10-18 f4.5 to 5.6 IS STM lens. That's a bit of a mouthful, but let's find out why after that intro. So it's 2020, it's not been the greatest year, but as a camera geek, like one of the few positives about this year is that we are now kind of living in this like golden age where there are so many amazing cameras at every price point. So like the barrier for entry for getting into photography, filmmaking, it's lower than it's like ever been. That being said, camera sales suggest that most people, particularly like newcomers, are still buying cheaper entry-level cameras. Now, a quick glance at the Amazon bestsellers list in the DSLR market shows you that Canon is still pretty much king at this price point. I mean, they are well built, they're simple to use, their dual pixel AF is amazing for autofocus, the flip screen, everything looks great straight out of the camera. They're kind of tailor-made for vlogging. So in terms of YouTubers, it's no wonder why so many content creators and vloggers started out with a Canon, and a lot of them still do. Now, my only gripe with these kinds of cameras is that the kit lens, the 18-55, I think it is, in my opinion, is not great, particularly if you're buying a camera for video, for YouTube, for vlogging. So if vlogging and video shooting is your main aim, what lens should you pair with your entry-level camera? I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. This Canon 10-18 f4.5 to 5.6. For me, in my opinion, it's tailor-made for vlogging and for YouTubers. So let's find out why. So this review does come from my real-world use of using this literally to kickstart our YouTube channel, to shoot vlogs, to shoot B-roll, and also for a bit of photography as well. So let's first get into what we like about this lens before moving on to some things that we don't like. So first off, price. I mean, at the time of recording, this lens can be brought brand new for literally about £195. I think that's about $230, $240. So it's really not a very expensive lens at all in the grand scheme of things. I mean, to put that into perspective, look how expensive the full frame Canon 16-35 f4 is, and the f2.8 version, whew, that's kind of pricey. So it kind of makes the Canon 10-18, which is similar to a 16-35 in like full frame terms, it kind of makes this lens kind of a bargain, really. Now, of course, the main selling point here is that ultra wide focal length of 10-18mm, which does make it such an excellent lens for video. It's like I said before, 10-18 is about 16-28 on a full frame equivalent. So this makes it tailor-made for capturing dramatic landscapes, like sweeping city shots, architecture, pretty much anything where you want to show the viewer as much as possible. So, from the point of view of a vlogger, you're able to fit one person, two people, even like you could literally fill like a group of people in a shot and still show so much of the environment around you. Another reason why this lens is so well catered for video shooters is it comes with 4 stops of image stabilization. So on a wide angle lens, that is a really nice luxury, as it really does help you when you're taking those like cinematic sweeping shots, or say if you're vlogging and you're climbing up a mountain, you're trying to film yourself at the same time, or you're just walking and talking. I mean, one of the things that I hate, it's like a pet peeve of mine, is when I see people vlogging, talking to themselves, they're walking down the road and it's just like shaking and wobbling. But if you're using this lens with that image stabilization turned on, you're not gonna have this problem. It performs pretty well as long as you're not like, like sprinting or running away from a monkey or a lion or something, which has happened to me in Vietnam. Not a lion, but monkeys have chased me as I was filming, so yeah, story for another time. As you can see here from this sample footage with the IS turned off, compared with it turned on, you can see that it performs quite well. There is quite a big difference there. So for those of you with shaky hands, the IS is definitely going to help you get more reliable and steady shots without having to put the camera on a tripod or a gimbal. And of course, that IS is really going to help reduce camera shake when you're snapping like photos handheld as well. Another awesome feature of this lens is just how quiet the actual focusing motor is. So the STM motor focuses really smoothly, very silently, which is perfect because it's not going to ruin your audio. So another thumbs up for those looking at vlogging and filming with this lens. When you're vlogging and you've probably got something like a Rode mic attached to the top of your camera, the last thing you want to hear is like the whirring and the zooming and the humming that the lenses sometimes make when they're trying to keep focus. Focusing is super fast, super accurate, very reliable autofocus, especially when you're shooting people, for example. This lens coupled with any of these modern crop sensor Canon cameras with that dual pixel AF system, it locks focus fantastically well. So I know I can rely on this lens in terms of focusing. Of course, you know, it does help that this is an ultra wide and that maximum aperture is only f4.5, so everything will be in focus anyway for the most part. But in terms of tracking my face, keeping me in focus, super reliable. So yeah, massive thumbs up there. Another great thing about this lens is just how lightweight it is. I mean, this is definitely a super portable lens, weighing in only at 240 grams. So a lot of the lenses that I'm using at the moment are on the beefier side. So to have a lens that's so easy to carry around and so light, for me, it's definitely a plus, especially if you're shooting video, you're traveling, you're vlogging, anything that's gonna save weight and not be heavy, it's gonna make, you know, the whole process of filming videos so much more pleasant for you. Like this lens on this 80D, it's so light, it's just like super nice to use. So quickly, let's move on to image quality. So image quality wise, this is a really excellent performer, and I've been super impressed with how sharp this lens is throughout the focal range. So when you're in a well-lit environment, images are really quite crisp and vibrant, and because it's ultra wide, it's not difficult to get everything nicely in focus. And I was always impressed at how well this lens performed for the price in terms of like flaring and ghosting, and just how little distortion there is considering that it is an ultra wide, because the last thing you want for a vlog is to have that weird fish eye look that you sometimes get on things like GoPros and stuff like that. So in terms of overall optical performance, yeah, this lens is awesome and a big upgrade over the kit lens. So far, this is pretty much sounding like a pretty great lens, which it is, but there are a few things that you need to be aware of before you go out and buy this. So the biggest thing for me is this is not a lens for bokeh and blurry backgrounds. It's an ultra wide, and that maximum aperture of f4.5 isn't really designed for that sort of thing. So if you are after that, definitely pair this lens with something like a nifty 50. That would make a great complement to this as something to shoot B-roll and more close-up cinematic looking stuff. It's also an EF-S mount lens, so it's not going to work on any full frame Canon camera. So it will work with all of Canon's APS-C range, which is not really an issue for most people buying gear in this price range, but it's definitely worth mentioning because if you do decide to upgrade later on to a Canon 6D Mark II or a 5D Mark IV or whatever the latest full frame Canon will be in the future, yeah, you're not going to be able to use this lens with any of those full frame cameras. For me, the biggest problem with this lens is it is quite noisy in low light conditions. So the aperture, you know, it doesn't open up very wide, and in darker scenarios, I found the video footage was, you know, quite noisy, very grainy looking. So unless you're in like optimal lighting conditions or you're outside, it's not dark already, any other times when you're trying to film in low light, it's not usable in my opinion. So for me, that's one of the biggest drawbacks about this lens. But you know, most people are trying to shoot in optical lighting conditions anyway, so you know, balance. Another issue with this lens is I don't really find it useful for much else, in my opinion, other than vlogging or taking like super wide shots. So in my opinion, it's kind of a one-trick pony in that sense, you know, a very good pony, but it means it can feel a little bit limiting in terms of like having a one lens, single lens setup. So if you want some more like variety in the kind of shots you can take, you definitely still want to have one or two other lenses in your camera bag. As I mentioned before, a nifty 50 with this would make a pretty nice budget lightweight setup. Okay, and finally, the build quality of this lens, you know, it does feel a little bit on the cheap side. You know, everything is plastic buttons, this is plastic, everything's plastic, the zoom is plastic, filter thread is plastic, it's just all plastic. You know, even the mount is plastic. Though keep in mind that cheap feeling doesn't mean that it isn't well made or durable. I mean, this lens has literally been with us around the world. It's been on a paddle boat, it's been on the back of a motorbike, it's been up mountains, it's been used to chase monkeys, it's been on epic jungle trek. It's literally never let us down. But yeah, you know, granted, it doesn't feel very luxurious. I personally feel like a lot of these issues are kind of minor at this point. I am kind of nitpicking, you know, considering that price point. And in terms of what you're getting for your money, the performance, the IS, the autofocus, the image quality, you literally have this perfect tailor-made vlogging lens that comes neatly, nicely packaged in this lightweight, compact form. So like I said, this lens, you know, it's been around the world and back with us, and there was a reason why it was on our camera like 90% of the time, because I knew I could rely on it. So for anyone looking to get into vlogging, starting a YouTube channel, shooting videos, you're looking at a cheaper Canon DSLR like the 80D, 70D, 90D, or you know, 650D, 1000D, 2000D, 4000D. All those Canon crop sensor cameras, and why are there so many models? I don't understand why there's just so many. They're all basically the same. But anyway, if you're looking at a crop sensor Canon DSLR APS-C, or maybe you already own one and you're looking at getting a lens for video, for vlogging, in my opinion, this is it. You are gonna love this lens. Anyway guys, that's the end of this video. I'd love to hear what you think about this lens. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys watching who are YouTubers maybe have had some experience with this lens too. So how did you find using this lens? And if you liked the video, hit that like button. And if you loved it, hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Follow us on Insta, Facebook, here and here. I guess I'll see you on the next video. So thanks so much, bye-bye.